And you can see, if you have a look, what she's talking about is this white bit around here. She don't like that. And I don't like no problems. So we get rid of that.
Okay, so these ones are looking delightful now.
Yep.
See the nice colour in them?
Oh, wee chef.
Look at that. That's lovely.
Come through alright.
Stick those over there.
It was a bit of a worry, that one.
It was a little bit, but it's all going strong now.
Right, so now that the wife wants the corals cut out,
Oh,
I don't really care for them, to be honest. I've missed a little bit there. So hopefully the viewers can see what I'm doing at the moment. If not, well...
Oh, that should come through clear.
Cool. Right, if I get in there...
That little woodpecker pan's charging ahead now. Just remember, like when I do, because if this was Jussie, he'd have a whole lot more oil in this pan, whereas I just cook it until I can see nothing on the bottom, but making sure that this is not dry.
I'll not soak them up.
Yeah. Just, it's up to you how
there's
you
a bigger
choose.
one there as well.
No. Yeah, I think that one's good. I think we're going to go good with this one.
Is it sharp enough?
Yep.
I've got to make some room here too.
So you can do it like that. You can do it like this. Ideally, you don't want to be losing too much of this juice, so you want to capture that.
You got to remember you need to turn the oven on.
That is a fact, but we still need to saute the tomatoes and the stock together. Another way to do it, as long as you don't have a sharp knife, this is, and the end skin bits are going to be hard to cut through, sorry, not cook through. And if they are a little bit hard to cut through, just turn it upside down. That way you get better cut. Now you're requiring all these tomatoes, love?
I think so. Unless they're really, really juicy, which I doubt. Also make more of a flat thing.
Now, it doesn't really matter about the size of the tomatoes that you cut. I mean, you can see...
Oh, you should be talking about the type of tomato more importantly.
Well, I can talk about that first. Well, I can talk about that after what I'm talking about now. So, these are probably just over half... what are you saying? They're almost an inch. Yeah, I reckon they're probably just under an inch by an inch. That's because when we're going to cook them in the pan, they're going to cook quicker. So if you cut bigger tomatoes, it doesn't make much difference. It's just going to take a little bit more time. Now, as Trish said before, as far as the tomatoes go, for a dish like this, you're looking for ripe tomatoes. And because it's being cooked down and the tomatoes aren't going to be eaten raw, if there's a little bit of bruising or they're a little bit soft, but they smell really good in the core, especially if you've got them on the vine. You'll be able to smell the vine and smell what they taste like. That is kind of what you're looking for, like a really sweet tomato flavour. If you can't get that, and the only tomatoes that you can get are some prefabricated thing from Coles or something, well, and we're not sponsored by Coles either, just to put that out there. The best thing that you can do is possibly put like a tablespoon of sugar in with your dish.
Would do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that, but as a chef.
Just hope to find proper tomatoes.
But if you can't find proper tomatoes, a little bit of sugar will always help.
Goes a long way, does it?
Yep, it does. The sugar just sort of brings up, it takes away the acidity of the tomatoes. Now also, one thing I am going to mention, and this one's going to be horrified by it, is if you are using tinned tomatoes, you will need to use sugar because there is a chemical reaction that happens with the tomatoes that are in the tin, and you will need to add maybe a tablespoon and a half of sugar to this dish just to counteract the acidity that are in the tinned tomatoes.
So my recommendation would be don't use canned tomatoes.
But if you can't, and if you're in a Holocaust, then
If you're in a Holocaust.
and then you're still cooking this dish, we're doing all right. Sorry, I've just watched Terminator 3 last night. If anyone else has watched it, you know, I'm thinking completely outside the box at the moment.
Nearly done with the veal. 3 bits to go.
Now, apart from the crumbing, really there's only stock and water that is added to this dish, apart from seasoning, and you know, you can do that at your own discretion. No, I didn't really cut my finger off. Didn't even come close. But I thought it would be funny.
With the veal or pork or chicken or whatever you're using, when you're making it, when you're laying it out in the dish, you want to make sure that you've got as many of the bits of meat with some sort of surface up. So you've got layers of meat, obviously, because you'll never get just one layer, otherwise that'll be a parmigiana. But what you are trying to do is ensure that as many bits of meat have some part of their surface showing when you look down into the dish. So the reason for that is when you put the tomato in and you put the cheese on top, when you lift the meat out of the dish, when you're serving it, most bits of meat will have some bit of cheese on them. And you'll understand it more when you see it being served. Just so that you don't have them like all lots sitting on top of each other, try and make it so that they do move around the pan a bit. Alright, the oven, or the tomatoes can probably go in that one. Thank you.
Right, so do we want to talk about what's happening here? Your pan, I've
not needed to clean it out.
you've not needed to clean it out because there's no black bits. If there was black bits in the oven, in the pan, you would need to clean it out.
And the main reason for that is because I've used coconut oil. Because I've used my coconut oil, I haven't burnt the pan.
I would say that was just good heat rotation because you could still burn the crummies, love. As good as you want to promote the tip-top crummies. If Tip-Top are watching this right now, you
I'd have a job.
possibly should be
I would have a job.
giving us some cash money.